Welcome to Chads by Christ. I'm Charlie.
I'm Sean.
Today we're gonna be taking another break. Actually, last episode was pretty rough on both of us, so we thought we'd take it easy today. If you have any feedback about last episode, please tell us. Like, we're actually kind of still on the fence about it. So, yeah, like we're not above taking it down if it's bad. So if it is bad, let us know because we're still
saying
not
that
entirely
though,
sure.
what Charlie said at the end of last episode was also still ringing true. Like, if you do, need anyone to reach out to, feel free to reach out to us.
Yep. Yeah, reach out to us.
Yeah,
Reach out to your GP, as per this description.
yeah, of course. Yeah,
Um,
professional space. Yep.
yeah,
Not these random two guys on a podcast. Yep.
yeah. Like, we'll hear you out, but you
Yeah,
know, the professionals are professionals for a reason. They know what to do.
true.
They'll help you out. And there's no shame in it. So yeah,
We can give you memes if that's anything.
you can. I'm off memes this Lent, so
Yeah. Okay.
I'll give you jokes. I'm witty. I'm still witty.
Alright, well, I can give you memes as long as they don't come off Facebook or Instagram. So
Yeah, you gotta make your own. That reminds me, I owe a Canva edit later on tonight.
yeah. For those of you that don't know, Charlie is our resident Canva expert. So if you have any meme
I'm
ideas,
not.
send them through in the Discord, and Charlie will edit them for you.
I mean, yeah. Look, yeah. Put them on the Insta.
Yeah, put them on the
Memes
Insta,
on
put 'em in the
request.
Discord. Charlie will do it.
Um,
And if
yeah,
anyone needs water, I'm the water boy.
yeah. You've been slack this week though. You didn't have bottles on Sunday.
I know. I
Yeah.
forgot to restock. I gave the last two away
Oofed.
a few days ago.
The water boy's out of water. It's all watered out.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's anyway. So yeah, today's gonna be a easy breezy episode, bit of a free-former. But before we properly get into it, how are you doing, Dash? How's your week been? Hello?
Sorry, 1 second. How about you tell us about your week for a sec?
No, I wasn't prepared for this.
Okay, sorry. I can go now. I had a minor interruption.
Yeah,
you go.
my week was pretty chill, mostly. I bought a new video game because I didn't give up video games for Lent.
Oh, you
so
did?
I've been playing that. No, I didn't. I gave up just like
Content.
internet.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but like
fair
video
enough.
games, specifically like console games. So I got a Super Mario RPG on the Nintendo Switch. It's imagine like a Final Fantasy game, but you're Super Mario. So yeah, pretty cool.
Sounds
pretty
awesome.
Fun. Yeah, it's great.
Yeah,
it's got remember I sent you a Big Yoshi in the group chat way back when?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's where Big Yoshi comes from.
I see.
Yeah.
Man, I haven't played a video game in a time.
Yeah.
Sunday or Saturday. I'll have to get on.
Yeah. Sunday. No, we don't have live team this Sunday. Are we doing anything this weekend? Do you know?
Not to my knowledge.
Okay.
But plans do change quickly.
Plans do change very quick. So yeah, cool. So I'm pretty open. Be on standby. Cool. But yeah, so that's me. How about you, Dash?
Yeah. Week's been good. What have I been up to? Mainly just work. Been doing a lot of reading.
Yes.
Just like sort of my own like free time reading as well as like spiritual reading, which has been good. I think my content free length is going pretty well in that regard.
Yep.
I'm currently reading Time for God by Jacques Philippe, so that's like my spiritual reading.
Ooh, nice.
Reading that alongside Confessions of St. Augustine.
Oh, that's meaty.
That's a meaty one, yeah. That one's really throwing me. But it's really good as well, in saying that. And then in my free time, I've been chipping away. I've started Narnia. I've only read a couple of pages of that though.
Yep.
But really been sinking my teeth into. There's this book series called Ranger's Apprentice. I don't know if you've heard of it.
I've heard of it, but I never got into it.
I was big on it when I was like, I was big on it when I was a teen.
Yeah, it's like young. These are like high schooler books, yeah.
They are
late primary, high school aimed. No, I don't mean to throw you under the bus. It's like
I feel like they're
That's
like
where we.
young adult
Yeah,
novels.
yeah, they're like the young adult, sort of like your
Like,
Harry Potters, yeah, that sort of
yeah,
demo. Yeah.
yeah. That's the sort of demographic. But like, they're really good as far as like fiction goes.
Hmm.
Um, like sometimes like I don't know. I just like reading. Like these are the kinds of books that got me into reading in the first place when I was like a teen.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
sometimes it's just nice to go back to that and like because that's like what's been getting me back into the reading grind as well. Like something easy that
Hmm.
then allows
Yep.
me to like work on the harder stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Um.
Oh yeah, that's mainly been my week. Other than the
Yeah, nice.
yeah.
Um. Like I'm also doing some reading, but I'm not doing free
Mm.
time reading. Maybe I should
So you
try
were
to
reading
incorporate
Narnia.
that. No, I finished Narnia, so now I'm
Oh
reading
wow.
Pell's. Not Narnia. Like I don't read in free time. I read before bed. I have nighttime reading.
Right.
So I've got Narnia was my nighttime book, and then I finished it. So now I started the first volume of the Cardinal Pell's Prison Journal that
Mm-hmm.
uh, you guys got me last year for my birthday, and I sat on it for you. I'm sorry. Um, so yeah, I'm like working through that like a little
Yep.
bit at a time before bed.
Nice.
Um, and then like my other book is Three to Get Married by Fulton Sheen, and that's just like I read on my phone during idle phone time.
Ah, yeah. That book looks really meaty, but also like really good for someone discerning marriage. I need to read that as
Yeah,
well.
yeah, it's a
I've
good
come to
book, but
the
yeah, it's a meaty boy.
yeah. I think
I'm definitely
after I'm
not
done
like.
with Confessions, I'll put that on my list.
Hmm.
Yeah, how are you finding it though?
Um, yeah, like, it's super meaty. It's super like it's sort of just washing over me, you know. Like I'm
Yeah.
not really like crystallizing anything except for a victim of circumference, which isn't really an actual point I should be keeping in mind. Um, but
Fair
yeah,
enough.
um, but no, like it's yeah, it's one of those things that's all very like subconscious learning, if anything.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
But yeah.
That's cool.
So, uh, without further ado, we'll get into our freeform topic today. So,
Mm.
what did you want to talk about today, Dash?
I I think you had an idea which I sort of built off of.
Hmm. Yep.
So like I sort of wanted to talk about like I guess the idea of like masculinity. Um,
Yep.
and sort
It's a
of
big topic.
I get it is big, but I think the idea that we had was like how it's portrayed, especially in media and sort of how it influences people, which I think might
Yeah.
narrow it
Yeah.
down a little bit.
Yeah. I think were we thinking of talking about like positive role models, or did we want to touch on the negatives as well?
I guess it would be helpful to consider both, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah,
I need to like poke my brain a bit for the negatives, only
yeah,
because I was
yeah,
thinking more about the positives when I during our backstage discussions.
yeah. Fair enough. Yeah.
But yeah, we can do both. Um, so how do we start this? Do you want
Um.
to? We'll
Yeah.
start
How
with
do we?
like. Shall we start with like what I started with, and then just go from there and hope for the best?
Yeah. Let's do that. Let's do that.
Okay. Um, so what I initially like put forward as the idea for today wasn't about masculinity in general, but was about anger specifically. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and my idea was related to a video game that came out in 2018 for the PlayStation 4 called God of War.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and in this game, you play as a big beefcake guy called Kratos, and uh, the story is that like Kratos' wife has died, and him and his boy, no, his name's Atreus. Yeah, him and his kid have to like take their mother's ashes to the highest mountain in the land to spread it as per her like last wishes. But the world is a terrible place, and there's like zombies and monsters and all sorts of stuff going on, and it's like set in Norse mythology world. Um, so a lot of violence in this game, a lot of action. You slicing people with an axe and all that sort of thing. Um, but what I wanted to talk about was a game mechanic called Spartan Rage,
Mm-hmm.
and this is like Kratos's like in video games you have like your buff meter or your like power gauge or like your mana or whatever. So this Spartan Rage is like a bar that fills up, and you can activate it to enter like a superpower state, and you do like more
Hmm.
damage, and you are invincible and all that sort of thing.
Yeah, yeah. I'm sort of familiar. I haven't played because you're talking about Ragnarok, right?
No, I'm talking about the first one. I'm talking about just
Oh yeah, yeah. I
regular
was gonna say
Spartan Rage. Yeah,
I'm familiar with that one. Yeah,
yeah, yeah, yeah. The sequel Ragnarok adds like more twists to it, but I might not talk about that now,
yeah.
just
Okay.
because yeah, we'll keep it focused. But
Yeah.
what I wanted to talk about was like that like press the button to channel your rage into like a super mode, and you can then press the same button to like go out of that mode.
Hmm.
It raised this interesting idea in my mind of like controlling your anger. And that like theme and that idea of like being in control of your emotions shows up in the game and like the story. Because Kratos is trying to raise his kid at the same time that all of this is happening. And like train him to like be a strong man who can survive in this harsh world. And so this idea of like he straight up says like your anger is a tool, control it is an interesting idea.
Hmm.
Because I don't know of many like media that really like pushes that idea that your anger is actually like a neutral aspect of a man, and it's up to the man to like harness it for
Yeah,
good
yeah. At
for good
his will.
purposes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because like you have like I feel like the two extremes are like let yourself be controlled by your anger and like be self-centered and what have you, or like the opposite extreme, which is like anger bad, suppress it, reject it, and be like not to be harsh, but like be like wimpy,
Mm.
like there's a certain vigor that's associated with anger that like gets suppressed
I
as a
mean,
result. I feel.
if you
I
talk
don't know.
about the context of the game, right? Like, if
Mm.
you think about the mechanic, like, start as using that as a sort of springboard, if you use those mechanics.
Mm-hmm.
So, correct me if I'm wrong, because it's been a little bit of time since I've played God of War, but you gain more rage energy the more sort of attacks you land, but also like the more you like receive, right?
Yeah,
It's
yeah. I think you get more because it's a game, right? You get rewarded for playing better.
exactly. So, like,
So
the
like you
more
get
combos or whatever you get more.
yeah, yeah. You get
Yeah,
more rage for like landing attacks, but you do get a bit for receiving attacks, which is
yeah,
realistic
yeah,
in that sense.
yeah. But
And then
like, I
there's
guess,
like pickups, like there's a because you can get like the rage pickup and it boosts your rage bar by a
yeah,
chunk.
yeah.
Yeah.
I guess if you think about it though, it's sort of like sums up natural rage as well in a nutshell. Like, when you think about it, you build up rage when like things sort of pile up on you, right? And you sort
Yeah.
of like start losing control. Like, when you think about it in that get in like in God of War,
Mm.
like it's a lot easier for you to get that rage energy. For example, first when you're like going up against like one of the bosses, I know it's like it's pretty prominent to use that rage energy
Yeah. Yeah.
with the boss types, but also just like when like Kratos himself gets overwhelmed, like when there's a lot going on around him and he's like constantly like hacking away, that's when he gains the most rage energy.
I think so. Yeah. I think the thing with the game that's different to real life though is yeah, you gain rage but like Kratos never reaches that point of overwhelm until you press those buttons. Like
True.
even in cutscenes there's like scripted sequences where you have to press the buttons. But like the whole point is that it's not Kratos' rage like getting the better of him. It's him like backed into a corner, like tapping into that rage with like still that like intentionality and that control. So like
Mm,
you can go for like stretches of the game with a full rage bar. So like, mechanically it'd be like he's full of rage, but he doesn't use it. And it doesn't
mm.
like spill out or anything. Um so like that's kind of like the idea that I want to explore. But then we've got like the whole other topic of masculinity as a whole as well. But yeah, just that idea of because you can't in real life like repress your rage, like like it's not something you vent, but you can't just like let it build up because in real life it does explode, right?
True. True.
But like, yeah, there's something about this idea of like being able to control it
Yeah.
that appeals to me, which
Yeah.
might be
Like at the
concerning.
press of
I
a
don't know.
button.
Not even, yeah, like the press of a button is the wrong sort of thing. Like the button
Yeah.
is just like a proxy for that idea of like being able to harness it at your command. Um, I can't remember which Greek philosopher talks about this, but he has this idea of like your passions are horses and you
Mm.
are like the chariot master.
Right.
And so like, you know, your anger is a passion, your hunger is a passion, uh, your like romantic drive is a passion. So these are all
Mm.
horses that are like pulling the chariot of you places. These are like the
Yeah.
things that drive you. And this idea, the idea is that like you, like your intellect, your will, is supposed to be like the master of the chariot. So he's meant to have the horses like bridled and under his control. Because if they're not and they're not tame, you're
Yeah.
gonna crash your chariot and die or whatever.
Yeah.
Um,
Fair enough.
Again, yeah, like self mastery is kind of like what I'm getting at.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
Well, like I guess my perspective is, and again, sort of going back to that mechanic, right?
mm,
Like that rage is like sometimes it's just not something you can sort of avoid, right? Like it just builds up.
yep,
But I think the important thing, and like you said, this takes a lot of self mastery and as well as experience, and just like general temperament to learn.
mm,
But I think channeling that rage into like another productive, like using it in a productive way. So maybe instead of, just sort of letting it just, get to a certain point where it just sort of explodes.
mm,
And, like, for example, rash decisions get made, you channel it into dealing with whatever situation it is in another way, whether that might be um, either turning to like prayer. It's like sometimes, that's one way of calming yourself down, and looking at things in a better light.
mm,
So prayer or just like general meditating.
yep,
Um, Also turning to friends. Um, Venting is, I think, a thing that is underrated nowadays. We need to turn to our friends. We need to turn to our priests. Spiritual directors, like
mm,
basically anyone that's able to like turn it here. Like that's one way
yeah,
I can think of productively, like channeling that sort of energy.
yeah. The only counter I might have to not the prayer, but specifically
Mm-mm.
like turning to other people
Mm.
is that people are people. Um,
True. True.
like there's a way to vent, right? Like
True.
there's that, and then there's also the fact that like people are people, and like I've done it. Like people have been angry in my presence, and I've been like emotionally rattled, even though it's not
Mm.
anger directed at me or anything like that. It's
Mm.
just they are angry.
Yep.
Um, so I mean, maybe I've got like a fierce independent streak or something, especially with this. But
Yeah. Yeah.
like what would you say to that? You know, that idea that maybe you can't rely on your friends to handle your anger, or like you can't trust them with this part of you, because again,
Fine. Yeah. Yeah. No,
the
I get that. So you're gonna finish your thought?
oh yeah, yeah, I was gonna just say like because again, like in society, like especially for men, anger is like typically seen as like not polite, like don't do it, it's
Mm.
unacceptable, put it
Yeah.
away. Um, yeah, like yeah, in general. And then you've got like the counter pushback of like let it rip, who cares, who gets hurt,
Yeah.
which is also bad.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, like how do you? What would you say to that idea?
There's two sides to that, right? Um,
Mm,
like one side would again be going back to trying to find a way to channel that in a productive way. It doesn't even need to be productive, just a way that is able to help calm you down.
yeah, maybe healthy is a better word.
Yeah,
Healthy.
healthy.
Yeah,
Yeah, that is a better way actually.
because like
Um,
yeah, you don't have to do something with it. You just have to
True.
be healthy.
Even just yeah, exactly. Like I know a lot of people tend to exercise, for example.
Mm,
Like sort of when they're especially mentally sort of strained or anything like that. Um, like mental exertion not only distracts you, but it also allows you to get some of that pent up energy up in a positive way, I would say.
Yep.
So that's like another way of doing it. Just doing things that enjoy you as like you enjoy as well. Sorry.
Yep.
Whether that might be just like tuning out and like reading or watching a movie, playing a game.
Mm.
Like we have these things, not to overindulge, but to like help us cope. Sometimes I would think like that's how I use these things.
Yeah. You're allowed to have a little bit of pleasures as a treat. Um,
Yeah, exactly.
was it Saint Thomas Aquinas who says like if you're feeling down, take a bath and have a glass of wine?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. Like yeah. The again the key with like pleasures is not to overindulge and to always
exactly.
keep
Yeah.
your first things first. Your God and God is
Like,
first, and
don't
then
use your
do
pleasures
to
as an
others.
escape. Use them as a means to an end. Is that the right way of explaining it?
Um, kind of like the
Kind of.
pleasure isn't an end of itself. Um,
Yeah, yeah.
and
Pleasure is not the end. Like
I think
the end is obviously like being able to deal with whatever situation you're in. Pleasure is
yeah,
the means, right?
yeah, pleasure is
One means.
a means. I'm like you've got me thinking of about like alcoholism and stuff like that. Going back to
That's
the
yeah.
Little Prince example that I brought up in
But
the
like
that
then
one
that's a
episode.
situation of detriment to yourself, right?
Yeah,
Like
that's the
there's having a glass of
situation
wine
of
in the bath, and then there's overindulging and yeah,
yeah, like
having too much of a good thing.
yeah, the alcoholism is the escape that you were talking
Mm,
about. Um,
exactly.
what you want is like I can't say like oh only go to pleasures that aren't escapes because like a lot of these pleasures are escapes.
Use
But
them in moderation, and
take the reprieve that you need, but like you got to get back to address the issue.
yeah, exactly. Yeah,
You can't just keep running away.
sure. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. But
it's
like
like
in the moment, for example, taking that reprieve can stop you from making a rash decision.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
Um,
and I know it's easier said than done.
sure.
Most good things are, unfortunately.
And that being said, I think you raised another point, that you asked me, like, what do we do if we don't want to vent to our friends? Is that what you said? Or if we don't feel we should?
Yeah, like yeah, there's
Mm,
because of this idea that like anger isn't an acceptable thing to show people.
yeah.
Like it for me, like my perspective or like where I'm coming from is this place of like I have to look good for my friends, and that's not necessarily true. And I try to fight against that as much as I can because vulnerability is important.
Hmm.
But that idea remains of like there are parts of me that I don't want people to see. There are parts that I'm ashamed of. Um, it's like, what do you like? There are parts that I've shown to someone I've trusted, and then they've like hurt me with that, and so like that's even worse. So like, if you're worried about those things, like, what would you say to that kind of thing?
Um,
It's a lot,
that's a good
actually.
question. Yeah. I think first thing is you don't need to share all of your innermost thoughts with other people.
Mm,
Like, it's okay to share the things that give you the most grief and get advice on that instead of maybe sharing everything. Because
mm,
sharing too much is not a good thing either, because some things aren't, like, simply might not be made to be shared, if that makes sense.
yeah.
Like, some things, like, I'm trying to explain it in a way. It's like,
Some things people aren't meant to see certain things, right? And
see,
like,
yeah, exactly.
um,
Yeah. Like, it's
I've
okay to ask for advice and stuff from a friend, but yeah, if you feel that it's something that's too heavy, no, that's not the right way to explain it either.
I can't explain it in a way that isn't like crass, you know.
Yeah, yeah,
Uh,
yeah,
like
yeah,
I have a feeling we're thinking of the same sort of thing, but
yeah,
like I
yeah,
don't
yeah.
know how to explain it without like having to turn on the explicit content
Um,
warning. um,
say we can say common sense, and just like general mannerisms, I guess, should normally tell you like when something's okay to talk to someone about and so when it isn't.
Yeah, yeah. The problem with that though is like you won't find that out until after you've told them, and it's like, oh no. Um, like
Fair enough.
there's still no real way of knowing beforehand, unless there is a way of knowing. I don't know.
Yeah.
Uh,
I I
the
still think
example I'm
that
thinking
there's
of will help, but like I gotta figure out how to say it properly. Um, like,
all right, think of it this way, right? I think some things, for example, are like, for example, some struggles, if we're talking about struggles in particular, are probably better off shared with the same gender, for example.
yes, definitely.
Um, I think the struggles are pretty obvious, like when you sort of think about it
Yep,
in that sense.
yep.
Um, yeah, so like those struggles, yeah, you would, normally like think, okay, maybe this is something that I should share, with a like for us, a brother, or a close like male friend.
Yep.
Whereas some topics might be a little bit more broader, and like the people of the opposite gender might be able to relate, and even provide like a
Mm,
perspective that you need. And in that scenario, it's probably okay to share with someone that you're close with. Again,
yep.
someone that you have that rapport with. Like, don't go talking to a stranger about it because that will scare them. That is weird.
Yes, that is weird.
Unless they're a professional, of course.
I mean, they're not really a stranger at that point, though, are they? Um, Technically,
True,
yes, but
true.
professional engagement is like there's
Well,
an
yes, I
established
know.
relationship of a type, you know.
Sure, 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 sure. You build that up before you get to
Yeah,
that point. So yeah,
and
that's right.
also they're qualified and all this jazz. Look, if you're like talking to some rando on Facebook, like do not give him your life tragedy,
Mm,
please. Um,
mm.
yeah, like
Yeah,
as
exactly.
you mature, you do get a sense for it. You know, Dash was saying like there is a common sense, maybe not even a
Yeah,
common sense, but you get that like intuition about like what you can and can't talk
yeah.
about. Um,
And if you're not sure, there's sort of a few avenues you can take. Um, I guess, look, it really depends on your personal situation, but I guess parents are generally pretty safe to ask
mm,
about certain things. It depends, again,
yeah,
depends, and it depends on your relationship as well. But like,
yeah,
most I would like to hope that most people are able to go to their parents with certain issues and talk to them about things and ask for advice without judgment.
yeah. If you
That does
can't,
depend on your situation.
yeah, like if you
Siblings
can't,
is also good.
then I get it. Yeah,
Siblings, I feel like is a little
siblings are
bit
good.
easier.
Yes, yeah, siblings are great.
Yeah.
Um,
If not siblings, then you go to your close friends.
yep.
Pick the circumstances based on who you're close to, what uh, the classification of the scenarios, etc., etc.
Yep.
If it's
Um,
something of like a grave matter, priests are always good to get like an initial opinion on even. And then from
yeah.
there, like they can then direct you towards maybe someone that might be able to talk to you a little bit easier about it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Um, yeah.
Anything else you can think of? Anyone else? Like, any other avenues you can think of to handle like something that
Um,
you might not necessarily want to talk about?
I mean, it comes around to vulnerabilities. Like, how do you develop that?
Mm,
And the answer is like you got to find safe people to do that.
hmm
Um, but when it comes to your friends, like you got to pick your friends well.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, probably like a decent thing to look for is the virtues, just in general. Um,
Surround yourself with people that help you grow, but also people that like surround yourself with people that help you grow, but also be prepared to help someone if they're struggling as well.
yeah, yeah,
Like it goes both ways. So
yeah,
like I've found it, at least in my friendships, like the closest friendships of mine are the ones where it goes both ways and it's like a mutual understanding and
yep,
we're able to reach out and help each other in difficult times.
yeah, yep,
To give and take.
yeah,
Doesn't always need to be 50-50. Like some
yeah.
days it can be
It's
70-30, some days it can be
yeah.
yeah.
I mean, the Christian ideal for a relationship is give and give. and it's not
True.
an equal
True.
50-50 give and give like Desh was saying.
True.
You give what you can, and receiving is something you give as well, which sounds weird.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. You're right.
actually, I think I have a quote about that from a book I read touch earlier, but it's a hefty one, so I'll see if I can't condense it. So this is from a book called The Light of His Eyes by Mother Ileana. And so this nun, she's a Byzantine Catholic nun.
Yeah.
She's got chronic health issues, and she was writing about an experience with that. Like, I'll just summarize the quote. It's too long. But like, so she needs help getting dressed because she's chronically ill, and she sends away her sister, her other nun, who comes to help her. And she's like praying, and she's like, "Why should I let this other nun see me naked and clothe me?" Which is like, which echoes the words that Jesus said in a parable of the sheep and the goats, where he's like, "You saw me naked and clothed me." And like, you know, when you saw me hungry and fed me, you gave me forth. And so, like, the conclusion she draws from it, her own prayer and like her talking with God, is that like she has to let her nun help her, because in being needy, she's being Jesus in a sense for her other nun. Yeah. Like,
It's quite profound.
there's a there's a service. Like, there's a service in receiving the kindness of others well.
Yeah. I see what you mean. Yeah.
And it's something that we're
Fair.
not really taught to do.
True.
But yeah, so that was my character,
How
my
did we
masculine man.
get here again?
We were supposed to talk about masculine masculinity
let's get
portrayed
back
in
to
media, right? And so I was like, oh, this Kratos guy is cool because he controls his anger
Yeah.
and he doesn't
It
like
is
repress
cool.
it.
Yeah.
Like, he's
What are some other like sort of figures like that? Like, think of like the most masculine figures.
I mean,
I've had a
that's a
I've had
that's an
I've had
interesting
an
word.
interesting one come to mind.
I won't say it.
Shrek. About it, bro.
I mean,
Think about it. Like Shrek is a relatively look. He has his he has his sore points if you've seen the Shrek movies, but relatively speaking, Shrek is not the worst masculine figure.
I mean, yeah, no, he's.
Like if you look at like his character development, especially like he goes from this ogre that's like I sort of like his character development when you talk about the masculinity thing, right? Because he goes from this ogre that's not open to relationships with anyone else. Like he wants to be by himself, closed off. He lives for himself, right?
Yep.
And then you get to like Shrek Forever After example, and he's literally at the start he's struggling, but then throughout the course of the movie, he learns that he's not living for himself. He's not just living for himself. He's living for his family as well.
Yeah.
Like the whole plot of Shrek 4 Forever After is him trying to get back to his kids and wife.
Yeah. Yep.
Like, I sort of like that character development when you think about the whole context of masculinity, because a lot of what you hear about masculinity in the modern age is closer to what Shrek was in the beginning. Like, it's saying, live for yourself, work for yourself, hustle for yourself.
Yeah.
Um, don't don't invest yourself in relationships and other people.
Yeah. No, there's this weird to tangent a little bit off of what you're saying.
Mm-mm.
That sort of like live for yourself, work for yourself, hustle for yourself. In a weird backwards way, it's still oriented towards relationship. Because like, I swear, like a lot of these people who present this stuff, they do so with this idea that if you do these things, you'll be attractive to the women, and you will get the women, and they will give you little kiss. But then like they don't invest in
Yeah.
the actual like
Yeah,
relationship. It's
You're
it's
right.
this
You're right.
weird sort of like, yeah. There's this whole like weird thing of like the woman is like another trophy in the list of crap
Yeah,
goes next to your
yeah,
car and all that sort of thing.
yeah. That's actually
But
that's right.
like at the core, like they still can't avoid like the deep human need for a relationship, I guess.
Yeah, like it's very
Um,
like the modern definition is very surface level.
yeah.
It doesn't really go beyond that.
Mm.
And we're we're probably going to get attacked for this. Oh, well, I don't know, maybe not.
We have 8 listeners. We'll be fine.
I was gonna like the person that I'm thinking about. I'm sure you know who it is. Like a person that sort of exhibits that live for yourself, work for yourself, don't you invest yourself in other people.
Uh,
Is Andrew Tate.
yeah, known Romanian pizza aficionado Andrew
Yeah,
Tate.
like a
Is
lot of
he
his
in jail?
messages that he's. I think he was meant to be arrested, but he
He
managed
has
to.
money. Yeah, cool.
Exactly, yeah.
All right, moving on.
Yeah,
Yeah, Mr. Tate.
Mr. Tate, yeah. So like a lot of his ideals are get money, um get get the things,
Whammon.
like get the whammon, yes. But also like get cars, get houses, like hustle hustle for tangible things is his sort of mindset. And he
Yeah.
sort of uses like he sort of uses this masquerade of like like what's this masquerade like meant to be like in the like the quote unquote positive sense. It's like
Um. Look, I haven't engaged with Mr. Tate enough to know exactly what his shtick is, but from
yeah,
what
like
I've
I
heard and from what I'm guessing, I think like the positive spin is there is
basically
there is
yeah.
like a masculinity that requires, that there is a good aspect of masculinity that is about getting out there, getting stuff done, um, having the means to provide, being able to provide,
Mm,
like being able to provide. It ties into fatherhood, right? Provide for your family.
mm,
Um, but the thing with Tate is like it's all internal. It's all like turned inward, right? So
yeah.
it's not provide for the welfare of others. It's provide
Yeah,
for
yeah,
your
yeah.
own amusement
Precisely,
and for your own
precisely.
hedonism. Um,
And I think what I was thinking of was like he uses this masquerade of like male empowerment, and um,
yeah, yep,
like a like discipline. Like a lot of people gravitate towards him because they think that he, like his values are like about like discipline,
yes,
and, like
yep, yep.
routine and like that kind of grind set,
Mm,
like working on yourself,
yeah,
work on
yeah.
yourself, King.
I mean,
Um,
like I get it, right? Because I'm sort of. I was literally. I spent the whole half of this episode talking about self
well, that's
mastery,
the thing,
self
right?
discipline, self
Like
control, right? Like,
that stuff is important, and he uses like the discussions around that to mask some of the not so good stuff that he says.
yeah. Um, I think I said this like a couple episodes ago. Like, any sort of discipline strengthens your will, but you still have to order your will to the correct
Yeah,
end.
yeah, yeah,
Um,
exactly.
and so, like at best, Mr. Tate, he is promoting discipline, he is promoting mastery, but then he also promotes a direction that is completely off center and
Mm,
not good for anyone in the long run.
mm.
Um, as far as I know, again, I don't watch the guy.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's right. That was one example that I can think of. That's sort of on the negative spectrum.
Yeah, negatives. We did say we were going to talk about negatives. So yeah, Shrek is a positive, great.
Mm.
Um, Kratos is a positive, particularly in. I mean, going off of Kratos, like Kratos in the earlier games, the PlayStation 2 games, he's not good. Well, he's not good.
That's beyond my time. Like I never played God of War back then.
I never did, but like because
You've
so
seen
much
gameplay and
of.
stuff.
Hmm?
You've seen like gameplay and stuff on YouTube and that.
Yeah, and also just because like it gets like everything that happens in those games influences Kratos' character in the new games because like the
Right, right.
Kratos in the new games is older and he's burdened with regrets for all the stuff.
Right. Charlie, I'm noticing that you. I don't know if this is like your noise
Oh,
cancellation, but your audio sort of drops in and out. Maybe do you want to unplug your mic and plug it back in again?
all right. Um,
While you do that, I can sort of go on a little bit about Kratos. Like, if we're talking about him again in the positive sense, I really like how he is portrayed in the newer games because he's sort of like this protector figure, which is, ideally what a male sort of father figure should be. Um, like he's always about protecting his son, and teaching him like the ways of the world, and
Mm.
how to how to sort of look after himself when eventually Kratos might not be around.
Yep. Yep. Do I sound better, Dash?
Yeah, yeah, that sounds
Yeah.
better.
How bad was that dropout? And how
No, no,
long
it
was
wasn't.
it?
It was fine. Like I noticed it earlier, but like the thing is, it was like you couldn't really notice it. Trust me.
Okay,
Yeah,
cool. Yeah.
yeah. I just because we had a lull, I thought maybe you want to try unplug and replug, but it
Yep.
wasn't bad.
Yep.
Don't worry about
Okay,
it.
cool. I was like leaning back and far away, so that might have helped make it better
Ah,
too.
yeah, maybe.
Anyway,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Maybe.
But yeah, so I unplugged my mic and missed everything you said, but that's okay. I'll listen back to it. You
I
talking about
basically said he's a protective figure, like for his son
yeah,
and
this is Kratos here.
Kratos, yeah,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
even like his whole mission and like I'm playing the first, not the first, but I'm like playing like not Ragnarok, but just God of War at the
yeah.
moment.
From the
And
one
in
from
that game, like
2018.
his sort of mission is like to fulfill his wife's last wishes.
Yep.
Like that whole idea is pretty wholesome when you think about it.
Yeah, yeah. It's
Yeah.
Kratos in those two games, the newer games. He's
Mm,
a
mm.
he's a changed man. He's a good man, and he's a man who's trying to be better.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and so like as far as role models go, like yeah, that's a good role model. The man he
Yeah.
was before, not so great.
Yeah.
But as a
Exactly.
whole, like that's probably a good
Yeah.
character to look at for yourselves. Um,
Yeah.
like he's resonated a lot with me because I definitely regret a lot of the things I've done in my past.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, that's still one. That only counts as one. I'm gonna try to find another negative influence. Uh, James Bond. I haven't seen any James Bonds, but I know he likes to kiss all the women, so that's probably no good.
Mm. Yeah. I like it's again like that sort of playboy um like sort of lifestyle, right? Like yeah, he's the hero, but at the end of the day, he's like this playboy.
Mm.
And a lot of sort of superhero figures tend to be like that. Like towards the beginning of the Iron Man, I feel like Tony Stark is like
Yeah,
that kind of guy. Who else? Tony Stark,
Bruce Wayne. He's kind of like
Batman.
that.
Yeah,
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 Batman. Not
yeah.
Joel, the other one.
Wait, Joel's
Oh yeah,
the Secret Identity, man.
if the
Joel's an insurance agent.
yeah, he works in insurance. Yeah.
Yeah. Man, who else?
Um, no, most other superheroes tend to be pretty squeaky clean though.
True, true.
Um, it's only like the rich ones. Like, just seems to be
He's
if
an
you're
interesting
rich.
one.
Hmm?
Homer Simpson. I feel like he's a bit of a mixed bag.
He's a mixed bag.
Like,
Um,
generally he's okay, but like, yeah.
he's no like he doesn't. I don't think he portrays masculinity. Is the thing.
No, it doesn't. More
Like
just like
like
I was
the
just more thinking like head of the family sort of situation.
yeah.
Naturally, that's like where my head gravitates towards when I think of
But
family.
yeah. Like you have a point though. Like Homer Simpson, and to probably a greater extent, characters like Peter Griffin in Family Guy, or like
Yeah,
Ray
yeah,
Romano and everyone Raymond. Like that comedy trope of the dad being an idiot dum dum who like is incompetent and cannot do anything.
yeah.
That's actually like terrible when you
Mm,
really think about it. Like contrast any of those characters with our favorite superhero Weberman. Shout out Weberman.
yeah.
Um, like that house would not operate if Weberman was like these sitcom dads.
Oh, exactly.
Like there's so much that he does that like you don't even see, and that's like why their house is as wholesome as it is.
Yeah, very true.
Um, what other bad? And then now we got to offset with good. The
good. We've already talked about Shrek and Kratos.
Yeah.
The
Lord of the
Saint.
Rings, the Saints, yeah.
Oh yeah,
Christ himself. He
Christ.
is.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. I was
He's
thinking of yeah, Saint Joseph, but also Saint Louis and Telemann. Great saints.
I think for masculine, Saint Louis.
More Saint Louis, but
Yeah.
like I feel like they go hand in hand. Right?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
Like it's sort of
you can't really split the two of them, can you?
yeah, and like they like Saint Louis, a large part of his like the fact that he does seem very masculine is his family
Mm.
and his love for said family and his wife, and through that, he's like through his like chosen vocation. That's how he chooses to honor the Lord by taking care of his family.
Yeah. Didn't the vocation choose him though? He wanted to be. Didn't they both want to be religious and they both got knocked back?
Well, true, but like he had to ask
He
her
had
to
to
marry him,
commit to it.
right?
Yeah. Yeah. No.
Yeah,
He had to commit. Yeah. He had to accept the calling.
yeah, yeah.
You know.
But yeah,
Like
you're right. You're right.
like in
You're
Mission
right.
Impossible. You know. Like his mission should he choose to accept it. I get you.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah.
Um. Yeah.
Mission Impossible. What about Johnny English? What a character
Um.
that guy was.
What a
He's
cat.
again a weird sort of James Bond situation, I guess.
I mean, he's got none of the philandering, right? He's got none of the.
Well, he does to an extent.
To an extent, yeah. It's sort of like played off in like a weird, funny Mr. Bean kind of way because it is Mr. Bean.
Yeah, yeah. But like also not in like the playboy sense, I guess. Like
Yeah.
yeah. But it's still there.
I think he only pursues like one woman at a time.
Yeah,
But
yeah. He does, yeah.
man, I don't know. Mr. Bond works.
Yeah.
Problem with Mr. Bond is it's the same guy, but
Yeah,
there's two,
yeah,
and
yeah.
he's got multiple. But it probably is exactly
Anyway.
the same. Yeah, I know.
Yeah, yeah.
You give
But
him a
other
pass because
good
he's funny.
figures. Yeah.
Um, good figures. You mentioned something about Lord of the Rings.
Oh yeah, I read this like
There
super
are.
interesting article today.
Hmm.
I'll sum it up. But it was basically along a point that you had brought up about Aragorn
Ah, yeah.
and Samwise in Lord of the Rings.
Hmm.
So I was like reading this super interesting Reddit post. I'll summarize it. So it essentially was talking about like toxic media, toxic media, toxic masculinity. Lord of the
Yep.
Rings is very wholesome media. But it talks about toxic masculinity and like the negative traits that it associates with manhood.
Yep.
And then it goes into talk about first about Tolkien and his like sort of experience serving his country in the Great War and what
Hmm. Yep.
like how he they talk about his sort of elements of his lived experience make him a real man's man, if you will,
Yep.
like a true hero and a real man in his own life.
Hmm.
And then they talk about how sort of like these positive views of masculinity are then demonstrated through the characters like Aragorn, Boromir, and Faramir in Lord of the Rings.
Yeah. People give
I'm a
Boromir a
little
bad
bit
rap.
I'm a little bit rusty on Boromir and Faramir, but I remember Aragorn pretty clearly.
Yeah. I like
Like
Boromir because he's flawed.
which one's Boromir?
So Boromir is the first. So Boromir and Faramir are brothers. Boromir is in Fellowship. He's
Are they the
the
twins?
yeah, they're the twins, and like
Oh
Boromir is the
yeah,
one you meet in Fellowship. He's like the prince of
yeah.
the city, like not Gondor, the the other one.
Yeah, yeah. It's
It's
coming
like
back to me.
yeah, like he's prince of the humans, but he like
Yeah,
unfortunately gets like tempted by the ring the most.
yeah.
Because like he wants it for good intentions. He wants the power to defend his people.
Yeah.
But like he buckles the quickest and like probably second worst in like the whole book, I think.
Yeah.
But then like he redeems himself immediately after fighting to the death against the Uruk-hai to protect Merry and Pippin.
Mm,
So like I feel he gets a bad rap because he was flawed.
mm,
He's a good guy, just like any one of us.
yeah.
Yeah, I like Boromir.
Yeah.
He
Yeah.
goes out like a true Chad.
Yeah. Yeah, now it's all coming back to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, anyway, back to this, like, really interesting article.
Yeah, sorry.
It specifically talked about, like, Aragon,
Mm.
and, like, how he's sort of like that, um, sort of like mold male protagonist, if you will. Like, they talk, like, the specific scenarios they talk about are his March on Blackgate, which is, like,
Mm.
a quintessential example of masculinity. So, like, they talk about, by, like, the common standards of masculinity, Aragorn should be the one who's taking the ring to Mordor.
Mm. Yep.
Instead, he becomes like a role player, and he gives Frodo a narrow edge, like by
Yep.
saying, like by if life or death, I can save you, I will.
Yep.
Yeah, like I guess it comes back to that sort of protector sort of outlook, right?
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, and then yeah, it does actually go into talk a little bit about Boromir. Says, unlike modern redemption arcs, Boromir does not actually fall into battle, but instead succumbs to his wounds hours later. This drastically shifts the focus of his sacrifice. Masculinity isn't about swinging swords and killing orcs. Boromir demonstrates integrity as he dies begging for forgiveness. I am sorry I have paid.
Mm.
Huh. I mean, yeah, he's
Yeah.
definitely got integrity as a character. That part's right for sure.
Mm. Yeah, I mean,
The
I'm
rest of it, I'm a
remembering
bit iffy.
his speech to Aragorn when he's dying
Yeah,
is like hits hard, man, because he's just full of regret.
yeah,
He's
exactly.
like
Yeah,
completely repentant.
and that is like that comes back to like accountability, right? Which is a like I feel like it should be a key like value of like
Yeah.
true masculinity, like being able to like accept and own your mistakes as well.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, that's where all that talk of vulnerability came in, right? Like
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly.
you can't be accountable. Like it's hard to be accountable if you can't trust someone with those
Precisely.
parts of you that you don't like that you like people will tell you to be ashamed of those things. People will tell you you're only worth uh love
Yeah.
to be like sappy about it. Yeah, like people tell you only worth love, squeaky,
Uh,
but
the
that's not
the mic
true.
thing's happening again. I think
Is it? Oh,
very slight, but it was happening.
is it better now? Again, I'm
Yeah,
like
better now. Better
I'm
now.
too relaxed. I'm not facing the mic or anything.
No, yeah, better now. Better now.
Okay,
But yeah,
yeah,
you're right. You're right. Like, you don't have to be perfect all the time, is what you're saying.
yeah, yeah. And
Yeah.
the reality is like no one is,
Yeah.
and trying to maintaining that illusion is exhausting.
Mm.
Um, so like it's a lot easier and it's a lot better, in my opinion, to surround yourself with people where you don't have to keep that illusion up.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, hey, that's tough. It's hard to find those kinds of people.
I feel like it's still something that I'm like learning, like to be vulnerable all
Oh,
around people.
same. Like, yeah, like
Yeah.
it's a combo of like finding those people, but you can't find those people without exposing yourself.
Yeah,
You
exactly.
know?
It's sort of like a testing the water situation.
Yeah. Um, but like the whole idea is like for me, like I can sum it all up with this idea of honesty, right?
Hmm.
Like at the end of the day, like I want to be accepted for who I am.
Yeah.
Then that means I have to be honest about who I am.
Mm.
Like I gotta face that down, and only then can I be able to show that to other people.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Um, I mean, even then, like it's not even guaranteed, right? Like
Sure.
I told you, like I was vulnerable with someone, and they turned it back in my face, and
Oh yeah.
like
Yeah.
those wounds hurt, and those
And
wounds
they
kill
take a long time to
vulnerability.
heal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, so like, yeah, it's a process. It's
Yeah.
a struggle. It's a mountain climb and a half.
It is a
So
grind.
yeah, it is the grind set worth
It's
grinding.
its own grind. Yeah, exactly. It's the right grind.
Yeah.
And on that note, we're at 58 minutes, so I think we're pretty much at time. Any final
Yeah.
thoughts you have around masculinity and everything we talked about?
Um.
All right, very quickly, we're going to go through everyone that we talked about and we're going to say yay or nay.
Okay.
All right, so we started with Kratos. I reckon he's a yay.
Yeah, Kratos as he is now. Yep, yay.
Yeah, as he is now. Yep. Who did we talk about next?
Next was Romanian pizza lover Andrew Tate. Nay.
Definitely a nay. Big nay.
Big nay. As much as pizza's great, nay.
Yeah, yeah. Next was like superheroes, like Batman,
Uh,
Iron Man. Uh,
Mixed bags. Mixed bags.
Mixed bags.
They
Okay,
develop. They develop. So like
they develop. Yeah, that's true.
in their fully fledged, much like Kratos.
Especially Iron Man.
Yeah, like Iron Man,
I mean,
like
Batman does too,
come
but
Endgame.
especially Iron Man. Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
He
Endgame
fully
Iron Man,
developed into
hard
that
yay. Yeah.
sacrificial protector character. So
Mm.
yeah, let's go with Endgame Iron Man. Yay.
Yep. Batman. Probably like Batman comes around from I don't even know.
I think it depends on the universe, to be honest.
Yeah. I'm
Yeah,
thinking of the Nolan universe, but even then, like
I think
Batman,
he goes
yay. Bruce
A.
Wayne, nay.
True, true, true.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. All right. Shrek, big yay.
Yep.
Big
Love
yay.
Shrek.
Yep. Who was after Shrek? Homer Simpson. He's again a mixed bag, but I feel like he's ultimately got his family's best interests at heart. So I would say yay.
Yeah, yeah. Homer's definitely like Homer's dumb, but he's trying. So yeah, yay.
Yeah, we give him points for trying.
Yeah. Peter Griffin, nay. He's dumb and he
Nah,
doesn't try.
nah, that's true.
Um,
Yeah,
Ray
yeah.
Romano, nay. Same shtick. Sorry,
We're
Ray.
talking about Ray Romano.
Because I brought Peter Griffin and Ray Romano and
Oh
like
yeah,
other sitcom dads. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Who's Ray Romano again? Is he the guy from
Raymond.
American Dad?
No, he's Raymond from Everybody Loves Raymond.
I don't remember that show much.
Ah,
I thought he was okay. Was it?
eh,
Maybe
nah,
my
nah.
memory's off.
He does like absolutely nothing for his kids or his wife or anyone.
Yeah.
None.
Okay. Right. All right. He's an A.
He's an A. Yeah.
Who did we go to after?
Um, then we went back to Kratos for a bit, and then Aragon.
Aragon, yay.
Aragon, yay.
Weberman, yay.
Webman, yay.
Big yay.
Big yay.
Yeah. Generally, the Lord of the Rings characters all, even if they make their mistakes, I feel like they have redemption arcs, which makes most Lord of the Rings like masculine, like the men in Lord of the Rings, pretty good.
Yeah, the men.
Like
Yeah, the men of the
like,
Fellowship. Yeah.
Aragorn, Boromir, Faramir,
Yep.
even like Samwise and Frodo, like they
Ethan
make their.
Samwise, get out of here. Samwise is one of the best boys. This slander will not stand.
I see, I see. I'm sorry. Fine, Samwise,
Samwise
especially
is
Samwise,
definitely a yay. How dare you?
uh, Samwise and Frodo.
Yep.
I think that was everyone in the end.
Yeah. Like we mostly talked about Boromir and Aragon. They're
Yeah.
yays. Yep.
Oh, I think we finally talked about the Saints at the end. Big yes, all of them.
Oh, yep.
All
Saints definitely yays. Yep.
Saint Louis, Saint Joseph, our Lord Jesus. Yeah,
Yep. Big yay. Yep.
yeah. All right.
Yeah.
I think we should probably wrap it up there. Should we move into prayer intentions?
Yep. Prayer intentions. I'll start this time. The bog standards. Pray for an end to the conflicts in Ukraine, Russia, Israel, Palestine, and everywhere else.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Especially the ones we don't know about because, like, of
yeah,
censorship and, like, this media not
yeah,
doing their job properly.
yeah. Media doesn't do their job properly at all. So,
Yeah.
flying on from that, like, I'll pray for that because between, presenting healthy role models for men and women,
Mm-hmm.
and also just, unbiased news and all of that stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, pray
A
for
lot of it gets screened, yeah. So, yeah.
yeah, pray for good media. Then if we can't have good media, pray for no media at all, I suppose. But not pray for good media.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Do you have anything else?
No, just those two for now. Yeah.
Yeah. I guess I guess I'll sort of go with my normal thing about sort of sticking in theme with like the episodes. So we pray for everyone, of course, but I guess with highlighting this episode, we pray for like true masculinity to like shine once more
Yep.
in our world because I feel like it's getting to a situation where we desperately need it,
Yep.
like to show it like shine a lot more, especially with all the danger that we have to the family, and even to the church. Like men need to step up.
Yep.
Not
Yeah.
just men, but yes, like
Yeah.
definitely men need to step up.
Yeah, look, the men need to step up, but not just the men, but the women
Not
and the
just
children
men,
too.
but obviously
Especially
men
the men.
have a key role,
Yeah, the
especially when you
men.
look at it liturgically.
Yeah,
Of course.
fatherhood is important both in the family and in the church. And
Yeah,
if there was ever a time that fathers, like now is
yeah,
it.
exactly.
So
Like
yeah,
if you're a guy, no matter what vocation you have, it is important. Um, if it is, you know, a sound vocation. Is
the sound.
never mind.
What?
No, like
All vocations are a fatherhood of a type,
no,
right?
my thinking is like nah, never mind. That's a topic for another time. I'll bring that up with you later.
Okay,
But like
I'll put it on the list. Tell me after.
all vocations are of course good. So yeah,
Oh yeah.
discern your vocation,
Mm.
and yeah, go after it.
Yes. Yep. Be the man
Um,
you can be.
yeah, yeah. So yeah, my to sum it up, my prayer intention is pray for men, not just men, but especially men.
Hmm.
Just because of the key role that they play.
Yep.
Um, and yeah, pray for, as you said, good role models and examples to be set for people to follow.
Yes.
And that like those roles models might be men, but they don't need to be just for men. They can be for
Mm.
everyone. I think,
Yes.
i.e., children, um, even women. Like good role models are necessary. So yeah, we pray for that.
Yep.
Alrighty.
Alrighty. Well, thanks so much for listening. Hope you guys got some good takeaways from this one because this was, again, a bit of a loosey goosey freeformer.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
Let us know what you think.
yeah,
Feedback's always appreciated.
feedback's always good, especially for episode uh, the Fifth Commandment Part One,
Mm-mm.
Part 5A. Like again, we're not
Yeah.
sure about that one, so please tell us if that one's all right.
If you feel we didn't
Um,
talk about something that was important, let us know. If you want to hear something for the next part of that as well, let us know.
yep. If you think that like it's too much, too heavy. If you think it's better to be taken down, like let us know.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
like we are really,
We
really are
also
like thinking of that
considered
as an option.
redoing it. So
Yeah.
yeah, 100% an option if people think it needs to be redone.
Yep. So yeah, any
Cool.
feedback is good. So let us know.
Yep.
But yeah, thanks so
But
much
yeah,
for
as
listening.
always, stay in touch as well, like through socials and stuff.
Yep. Instagram, Gmail,
Yep.
Discord. Join the
Facebook.
Do I have I should get a link in the thing. I'll put a link in the thing.
Yeah. Yes.
But yeah.
But yeah, thanks for listening, guys. We'll see you in the next one.
Yep. See you in the next one. God bless.
Bye. God bless.